enter into the record, with the chairman's permission, a letter that was submitted to our committee from a number of your former co-clerks, individuals who worked with you, actually co-clerks who worked for Justices Scalia, Thomas, Souter, as well as Ginsburg and Kennedy, attesting to their belief that you, I'm quoting, possess the intellect, temperament, experience, and judgment to serve with distinction as a United States District Judge, end quote, and indicating your strong commitment to the rule of law and to enforcing the law, which I think goes to some of the questions that you've been asked previously. It certainly is very powerful evidence of that commitment, if there's no objection.
Without objection.
Thank you. Ms. Hidalgo, thank you for your extraordinary work on behalf of survivors and victims, your work on VAWA, its reauthorization, your work on providing funding, and throughout your career. When I was Attorney General of my state, I formed an organization called Men Against Domestic Violence, Men Make a Difference. And I think it is on all of us, men and women alike. It's not a woman's problem or issue. Domestic violence is all of our responsibility, and the funding for organizations that work on this issue is vital. $3.4 million came to Connecticut, funding organizations like the Connecticut Coalition Against Domestic Violence and the Connecticut Alliance to End Sexual Violence. With that help, we have 24-hour staffing in all of our domestic violence shelters, and we have stronger systems to apply and implement and enforce civil restraining orders and protective orders against abusers. And yet, we still have this scourge of domestic violence. Most recently, and most publicly, the death of a young woman, Julie Minogue, in Milford, Connecticut. I went to the vigil for her just last Sunday, killed by an intimate partner who was under a protective order at various points. She literally pleaded for help to the police department. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, the warrant was not reissued, and her death happened. I guess my question to you is, how do we respond to the need for more enforcement of orders and protections when there is that moment of crisis and rage and threat and danger to someone like Julie Minogue?
Thank you, Senator Blumenthal, for your commitment to these issues and for your question. And my heart goes out to her family and friends and community. And I think you're exactly right, Senator, as you noted. While we have made a lot of progress through VAWA, there's still a lot further to go. And I think one of the key aspects of the work through the Office on Violence Against Women and implementing VAWA is to continue to strengthen what's known as a coordinated community response of law enforcement, but also with victim service providers, community organizations, courts, prosecutors, healthcare providers, and others who can really help create different pathways to safety for those who may be too afraid to come forward. So I think we have to continue to strengthen those efforts, strengthen prevention, and strengthen training. Training and support for law enforcement on promising practices, on trauma-informed approaches that are victim-centered, and just to continue nationally as well to share the innovation and the ways in which we can make sure that law enforcement departments develop specialized units as well with the expertise to assess lethality and to make sure that individuals can be connected to critical services.
There's an ongoing investigation of the Minogue case, and we can't draw any final conclusions until that investigation is complete, but I would like your commitment that you will review it and perhaps indicate to us how it's an example of where we need to strengthen the system, what lessons we can learn from it, and how Connecticut can improve its system for better protecting survivors and victims of domestic violence.
Thank you, Senator Blumenthal. As you note, issues of fatality reviews are so critical to continue to bring out the lessons learned. And if I'm fortunate enough to be confirmed at the Office on Violence Against Women, we look forward to ways to strengthen the ability of every jurisdiction to conduct fatality reviews and to do a lot more upfront with lethality assessments and with services and prevention to try to prevent these kinds of horrific cases. So if I'm fortunate to be confirmed, I look forward to engaging with you and other members of the Senate Judiciary Committee to advance those goals.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Blumenthal. Senator Klobuchar.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you to all of our nominees. Ms. Hidalgo, you worked in various roles for 10 years at Esperanza United, which is based in St. Paul, Minnesota. And when I was county attorney,